All right. Hello and welcome to Daily Space for today, November 20th, 2019. I am your host, Annie Wilson. Most Mondays through Fridays, our team will be here bringing you a quick rundown of all that is new in space and astronomy. Usually Wednesdays are, for Rocket Roundup, and today is no different. Chat is amusing me. Last week we had one surprise Chinese launch, and I also have some news on an EVA and a test, and a SpaceX test. So, let's get started, shall we? First up is... Here we go. Alright. First up is an update from SpaceX. So on November 13th, SpaceX successfully conducted a hold-down static fire of its Crew Dragon capsule. And yes, it's exactly what it sounds like. The rocket is held down so it doesn't take off while the engines are fired. And this is an image of that particular test. Oh, I didn't start the thing. Look at me messing up. This is my Monday, y'all. This is my Monday. All right, one more time. Frantic wave, frantic wave, frantic wave. All right. Hello, and welcome to Daily Space for today, November 20th, 2019. I am your host, Annie Wilson. Most Mondays through Fridays, our team brings you the latest in space and astronomy news. Usually Wednesdays are for Rocket Roundup, and today is no different. We have a EVA, an update from SpaceX, and a surprise launch. So, let's get at it, shall we? Before we get to the surprise launch, the update from SpaceX. On November 13th, SpaceX successfully conducted a hold-down static test fire of its Crew Dragon capsule. And yes, it's exactly what it sounds like. The rocket is held down so it doesn't take off while the engines are fired. At 3:08 p.m. Eastern Time, an updated Dragon capsule performed a successful static fire of its 8 Draco thrusters, simulating their operation during a pad abort emergency. The failure of a check valve during a similar test almost 7 months ago resulted in the destruction of another Crew Dragon capsule. That test was done on a capsule which had made a successful automated flight to the ISS, which delivered literal tons of cargo and scientific experiments before safely returning to Earth. That particular failure was traced back to a modern design of check valve that keeps liquids inside things such as fuel lines separated until a certain pressure level is exceeded, preventing the mixing and flow of those materials until precisely the desired circumstances or conditions are met. Check valves are meant to be reusable, which would have allowed for faster turnaround time when refurbishing the craft for future flights. Unfortunately, such valves also have been proven notoriously unreliable, and the failure this past April being just one of many found during testing of this and other rocketry designs. That failure triggered a design change where the new capsule now incorporates the more reliable burst discs rather than those check valves. Rather than opening at a desired pressure level, the burst discs simply fail, literally bursting, to allow the desired flow, and obviously once they've been used, they must be replaced in order for the capsule to be reused. This increases the amount of work to be done for refurbishing, but it also increases the safety for the crew aboard. However, if not used during an abort event or test, such discs can be checked for integrity without being replaced, so they will not necessarily need to be replaced following every mission. Both NASA and SpaceX have released statements to the media and on Twitter indicating that the test was entirely successful. This clears the way for a final uncrewed in-flight abort test sometime in the next 1 or 2 months, where the craft will simulate an emergency requiring the capsule to get the crew to safety shortly after launch. It will be the highest stress test of the launch abort system, and a passing result is needed before the Crew Dragon can be certified for flights with crews aboard. And we do have some footage of this. This is from WKMG News 6 Click Orlando.
Today, SpaceX conducted a critical test of its Crew Dragon space capsule. The last time the company tried this test, it caused the capsule to explode. News 6's James Sparvero explains why this test is so critical for bringing crewed launches back to the Space Coast.
A brief cloud of dust, our indication tonight that SpaceX test fires its Crew Dragon Super Draco engines. If we could see the ground, the static test fire might have looked similar to these previous SpaceX tests.
This testing is about the Super Draco thrusters, which are the abort thrusters that will save the astronauts in case there's a rocket emergency.
Dr. Ken Kramer, a space photographer and research scientist, talking about how SpaceX needs to be successful with this static fire test before it could conduct an in-flight abort test. A big step before flying astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley.
If the rocket begins blowing up beneath them, the Draco thrusters will pull them away and save their lives. Otherwise, they would be killed.
During testing back in April, when Crew Dragon blew up, SpaceX did not confirm the accident until 12 days later.
The communication on this particular incident was poor.
The delay causing NASA's administrator to call for more transparency for the taxpayer.
Liftoff.
Last week, NASA asked Boeing, NASA's other commercial partner, to live stream its pad abort test of the Starliner. Now we wait on SpaceX to confirm today's testing and tell us how it went.
What's actually going on is there's probably a whole day series of tests like they were doing last time when they had the explosion.
And when we get any official word from SpaceX, we will share that with you. At Cape Canaveral, I'm James Sparvero, getting results, News 6.
There you go. All right, now for that surprise rocket launch. If you tuned in last week, you may recall that an X-Space Kuaizhou 1 Alpha rocket launched. Well, just 4 days later, on November 17th at 9:52 a.m. UTC, X-Space launched another Kuaizhou 1 Alpha rocket. This is thought to be the shortest break between two consecutive launches of the same vehicle in China. And I have the launch patch for you. So, the launch patch for this mission is a diamond shape with the rocket going right up the middle. A red-orange circle against a light blue background appears to be rising from the exhaust plume surrounding the transporter erector launcher. 2 satellites are pictured, which corresponds with the payload of Kilo Lima Alpha A and Kilo Lima Alpha B. 5 stars can be seen, 1 for each launch of this particular model of rocket. On the left edge of the patch, Kuaizhou Shu Tian is written in Chinese characters, while the right edge bears the name of the mission, KL Alpha. Let's chat about that payload for a second. Not only was it launched in China, it was built in China, which is not entirely odd in and of itself, but this was not for a Chinese company. The payload was built and launched for Clio Connect, a German company. They had put out a request for bids in 2017 for 2 satellites. The Institute of Microsatellite Innovation of the Chinese Academy of Sciences successfully won that bid. And pictured here is the development team that worked on those 2 satellites. So these 2 satellites, Kilo Lima Alpha A and Kilo Lima Alpha Bravo, are essentially technology demonstrations for Clio, a German new space startup company. Both satellites are capable of utilizing the Ka band, but are of different masses and will be put into 2 separate orbits. One satellite will be at 1,050 kilometers altitude, and the other will be at 1,425 kilometers altitude. Clio Connect's long-term goal is to place a constellation of 300 satellites in low Earth orbit for the purpose of supporting the emerging industrial Internet of Things market. This technology could be used to communicate with and track ships, mining operations, farm equipment, and long-haul trucks, just to name a few operations. Or few applications, excuse me. And on to the good stuff. This is a high-resolution photo of the Sunset launch that was captured by Ma Chongpeng. The transporter erector launcher is obscured by the launch plume. And photographer Heaven in the Sky captured this image of the rocket's luminous exhaust trail in northern China. There's actually a name for this phenomenon: space jellyfish. Yep, I'm serious. Space jellyfish. And no, it's not aliens. This happens because of two things. One, the Earth is round. Two, the timing of the launch. If this was a night launch instead of an evening launch, it would be too dark to see the exhaust plume. Around twilight, the sun is out of sight of the viewer, making it dark, but is still lighting up part of the sky. Here, the plume is condensing, becoming liquid droplets or ice crystals in the air, and that is lit up by the sun. And now, for the launch video. Warning, rocket launches are loud. Here you can see the TEL. That's it. And no, there's no rocket carnage photos. I looked. Usually, because China does their launches so far inland, you can often get pictures of rocket debris afterwards. This did not occur this time. But the bonus fact I do have for this particular launch is that in Chinese media, I often saw it referred to as 1 arrow, 2 stars. I thought that was kind of neat. All right. Our final story covers a mission taking place currently aboard the International Space Station, the roots of which go back decades. We're going to talk about the Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer, or AMS, the single biggest, heaviest, and most expensive scientific instrument aboard the International Space Station. We'll actually do a deep dive of this story in a few weeks, because there's just so much about the AMS. But right now, we're going to talk about one of the several spacewalks, or EVAs, that are happening to support this. Okay, so here you see an image of NASA astronaut Andrew Morgan perched on the end of the space station's robotic arm during Friday's spacewalk. We'll get into why he was on the end of the Canada arm in a second. It's pretty wild, so just hang on. All right, this past Friday, ESA astronaut and current ISS commander Luca Parmitino and NASA astronaut Andrew Morgan spent just over 6.5 hours performing a spacewalk to service the AMS, which is an extremely sensitive cosmic ray detector. As can be seen in this image, they were supported in this effort by the Canada arm, which was operated by NASA's Jessica Meir. Due to the complexity of this device and the complicated, painstaking nature of its development, the AMS was never intended to be serviced in orbit. I'll repeat that. The AMS was never intended to be serviced in orbit. The device came aboard the International Space Station on STS-134 in May of 2011, and shuttle flights ended shortly thereafter, ending practical methods of returning the device to Earth for servicing, if needed. So when the 4 cooling pumps vital to its operation began to fail a few years into its mission, it was thought that it would only be a matter of time before the detector would no longer be able to perform its groundbreaking work. Weighing in at over 6,800 kilograms, Americans, that's 3,400 2-liter bottles. The already massive device was not designed with handrails, attachment points, or extra internal clearances needed for spacewalkers in bulky EVA gear to perform servicing work. It took a team of engineers and astronauts over 4 years to develop procedures that might allow the work necessary to be accomplished. In the process, they developed some 24 new specifically designed tools for the tasks which need to be completed to service the system's all but failed liquid CO2 cooling system. Further complicating matters, the internal structure contains many sharp edges and delicate components which can simultaneously provide hazards to astronauts and the instrument. Parmitino and Morgan trained extensively on the techniques and procedures, performing no less than 7 full-duration sessions of ground-based simulation prior to heading to the ISS this past July. Y'all, they spent nearly a week on the ground practicing the spacewalk. Just process that for a second. Okay, according to Tara Joachim, the AMS repair manager at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, quote, "We had to go off and figure out how to create a work site. We had to build new handrails to install on existing hardware, and we had to deal with existing sharp edges, and in a lot of cases, we're creating new sharp edges using tools that have sharp edges on them. We did as much as we could to minimize that risk to the crew member, and then, of course, to repair of the payload itself, but they are certainly very challenging and technically difficult EVAs." Okay, so why are sharp edges an issue? These EVAs are not solid. It's not, if they get hit by a sharp edge, it's not like they're going to scratch, they're actually going to tear, and that could put the astronaut in danger. Okay, so I'm going to play this video, or try to. This is literally a hours-long webcast. Hours and hours long. So I just picked a random spot and we're gonna watch it while I chat more about this EVA. So despite these obstacles, Parmitino and Morgan were able to not only complete all of their assigned tasks, they were also able to accomplish several get-ahead tasks which will reduce the workload for upcoming EVAs. The next of which is scheduled for early Friday morning and will be broadcast live on NASA TV. No, we are not simulcasting that. Spacewalks are long, y'all. 2 other EVAs are tentatively planned, but will be scheduled based on the flight and ground engineers' assessment of the work completed during the first 2. If the second EVA on Friday goes as well as the first one did, those 2 missions may be shortened or perhaps even combined into a single EVA. While the spacewalk was intended to prepare the worksite by opening the device and pre-positioning the tools and other gear needed for upcoming work, the actual repair work will begin the day after tomorrow. The astronauts will need to, among other things, cut and splice 8 separate cooling lines and splice in the new lines, which will lead to a brand new cooling unit. That cooling unit is already aboard the ISS. For those keeping track, last Friday's spacewalk was the 222nd spacewalk in the history of the International Space Station. It was Andrew Morgan's 4th and Luca Parmitino's 3rd career EVA overall. And now for some bonus facts. So bonus fact number 1, in a tradition dating back to the early days of NASA spaceflight, EVAs are always performed with a trained astronaut on the ground acting as a liaison between the spacewalkers and mission control teams, leadership, and engineers. Bonus fact number 2. For Parmitino, this was his first spacewalk since his suit malfunctioned in July of 2013. His helmet gradually filled with water and required an emergency return to the ISS before he literally drowned in his spacesuit. Since then, EVA suit upgrades and procedures, including the addition of an absorption pad inside the helmet, have prevented any more of those problems to this point. That's all the news I have for you. But as a reminder, we are taking the entirety of next week off, and there's a whole lot of rocket launches that are happening between, essentially now and December 4th, which is the next time we'll talk about rocket launches. We may stream some of these, we may not. It depends on our schedule. So I have it up on your screen. Essentially, there's an Ariane 5 on the November 22nd. That's one that we may stream. Another one that we might stream is on November 24th, 25th. That's an Indian launch. 25th is an a Rocket Lab launch called Running Out of Fingers. I think this is going to be their 10th Rocket Lab Electron flight. And it's 2 slides worth of info. Another one that we might stream is on December 4th, the Falcon 9 carrying a cargo load to the ISS and be its 19th cargo delivery flight. So as you can see, literally so many rocket launches. So many rocket launches. It's a lot, y'all. All right, so I am going to take this opportunity to ask you to type in any questions. Please use the purple star and the purple circle emotes so they stand out more. While you're doing that, I'm going to take this opportunity to remind you that this is a production of PSI, Planetary Science Institute, located in Tucson, Arizona. They are a 501c3 corporation, which is just fancy speak for your donations are tax deductible where the law allows. Sorry, that's probably just the US. We are produced by Susie Murph. I have been your host, Annie Wilson, and today's script was written by myself and our intro, otherwise known as Dave Bullard. And in the background, the cheerleaders have been Tinker and Puck. I will get them up on screen so you can see all of them. Oh my goodness, so many cheers. I saw a lot of stuff come through while we were doing the thing. So here's the dogs. All right, more bits now. And if you prefer a version of the show that's easy to go on the road, we do podcasts. So, yeah, I think that's all the things I need to mention for the wall of text. Other than, hey, we're brought here by you. So thank you for making this possible. All right, now I'm going to scroll up and look for your questions because, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, y'all caught me. It was like, is there a slide? Yes. So Star Strider subscribed during the middle of my thing. So, and make it rain! Bits for the dogs for the subscription. Scrolling. Michael T. Meyer says that SpaceX also pressure tested the main tanks of the Mark 1 Starship at Boca Chica. That's pretty cool. I don't cover a whole lot of the Starship stuff because a lot of other people cover the Starship stuff. A lot of other people cover that, and there's just so much I can cover. Aristro says, note the not red cloud following the test and the absence of orange smoke, which in that SpaceX test, the not orange cloud of smoke means they're not using the unsymmetrical dimethylhydrazine and the nitrogen tetraoxide, which are things that are wonderful. They're liquids that are wonderfully stable, but they're also really hazardous to everything living. So there's that. Veronica Kier says, Internet of Things regarding Clio connects. Yes. It's very much a kind of loosish term that's been out there for, gosh, almost a decade now. Internet of Things can be anything from your smart devices to, that includes your smart speakers, your smart thermostats, your smart light bulbs. Like those are all things, and they're all connected to the internet. I even have, but it's not handy, I have the little thing. Even tiny little, you know, kind of toys, essentially. This is a device related to a now defunct company. And it's literally Internet of Things. Industry benefits from the Internet of Things because it allows communication with devices that can be put on ships, cargo containers, trucks, farm equipment, remote sensors. So I feel like Internet of Things is still kind of a vague, fluffy term. But there are lots of applications, and Clio Connect is definitely not the first or only one that has had this idea in mind. So, Kerbal1 says noctilucent clouds is the proper term. And, yeah. Yeah, that's difficult for me to say, so I'm just going to stick with space jellyfish. And Arnstro adds about space jellyfish, if SpaceX weren't famous for anything else, they'd be famous for their space jellyfish off of LA. Yes, Paranor, there were no spotted cows that we know of for this Chinese launch, this surprise Chinese launch. Oh, thank you for the, follow, Empress Moon, and make it rain! My dogs are all just ready to go. All just ready to go. And bits from Kevlar, thank you! And make it rain! Alright, I need to make it sprinkle for Tinker. Okay. Scrolling down. Something, oh, Kerbal1's talking about the AMS. It was never intended to be repaired. And yet here we are, repairing it, because that's what humans do, apparently. Arnstro makes a comment about some of the text he puts out. When Arnstro writes slides, he always puts the imperial units in there as well. So there will be the metric units and then the imperial units, and I always skip over the imperial units. I'm waiting for my dogs to freak out. And I do that on purpose. It is because I feel like Americans need to get more comfortable with metric units. And a good way to do that is that a 2-liter bottle on Earth weighs roughly 2 kilograms. And most people know what 2 liters feels like, period. Like, that's an object that we can all go, this weighs 2 kilograms. A pound, even for me as an American growing up with pounds, a pound is more... How do I put this? It's not as concrete. So, yeah, there's 2 reasons why I use the soda bottles is, A, I know what a 2-liter bottle feels like. B, it's concrete. And actually, C, it kind of tricks Americans into learning metric. Because metric is important, and if I can weave it into a way that everybody can understand, not just Americans, I feel like it benefits everybody. So that's why I do that. I know it's there, but like, yeah. Panda Bear is like, I was like, full bottles, empty bottles, one's filled with lead. Literally, we are, literally it's soda bottles full of soda or water. Oh, and Arnstro adds that the liaison was a Canadian. Yes, Arnstro did a wonderful job of writing a whole lot about the AMS. In fact, so much that it would have made the episode go way longer. So we're saving that extra bit for our future deep dive. And Well, because there's at least 3 more spacewalks, at least 2 more spacewalks planned to service the AMS. So, yeah. Walker says, drowning in space, words I never expect to hear together. Yeah, drowning in space can happen. It's terrifying. Susie Murph says, so many rockets about the rocket launches. Oh my goodness, you have no idea. I feel like this is an end of the month phenomenon. I mean, we're not quite to the end of a quarter. Next month is the end of a quarter, but I feel like it's the end of a month phenomenon. Okay. And more bits! Broken symmetry for Puppy Cam. And make it rain! Scrolling. Veronica Cure asks, do you think the launch on December 1st will be live streamed by anyone? Let me look at my slides real quick. It says Russian Ministry of Defense. So I'm going to say no. It also has a payload of to be determined. So I'm going to say no. It's not going to be live streamed by anyone. I really don't expect it. Larry asks, that F9 will launch a cargo dragon. Yes, that F9 will launch a cargo dragon. Let me find it. Hi, buddy. The Falcon 9 on December 4th, which I'm very bitter that it's on December 4th, will launch a cargo dragon for its 19th cargo delivery flight. I am not going to lie. I hope that one gets postponed by several days. Kerbal says, there might be a 3rd batch of Starlink in December. Oh my goodness. There might be. Raj Luthra asks, is the next Falcon Heavy Bravo 5 launch next year? That's a very good question, Raj. Let's look that up. I use rocketlaunch.live for literally everything. They update fairly regularly. The cat is all, hi human. Here, bits. I'm scrolling. Falcon Heavy. Alright. Make it rain! I don't know where the cat got off to. The next Falcon Heavy launch is literally scheduled for Q4 of 2020. There is no other dates or information on rocketlaunch.live, so I don't expect to see the next Falcon Heavy for a little while. Larry Weird asks, what spacecraft had the first toilet? A Soviet one. I'm not sure. It's not the Soyuz, because there were Soyuz before. Hi, buddy. Where are you? I know. Come here. Ugh. There were Soyuz toilets. Or there were Soyuz craft. There were Soviet craft before the Soyuz. And I actually would have to look, but I can tell you for sure it was a Soviet craft. Scrolling. DPI says about Internet of Things is Internet of Security issues. Yes, yeah. A lot of people's Wi-Fi isn't really secure. Some of these devices create their own Wi-Fi networks, and that's not very secure. So essentially, if you have something that creates its own Wi-Fi network and just anybody can connect to it, just anybody can mess with it. DPI says, you mean a 64-ounce bottle? No, I'm not getting into that. Ernstro adds about imperial units. Never mind that most folks in English speaking still use miles, feet, and pounds, but okay. It's important, okay? It's important. As Raj Luthra points out, most of humanity uses the metric system. I know. Gem Doctor says, USA doesn't use imperial measurements. Then what are they called? I thought it was always imperial. Okay. Econ Greg says, I'm out of bits. Oh no. Oh no. It's your birthday tomorrow. Well, happy birthday. 1,000 bits for Wayne's birthday. Make it rain. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you so much. Make it rain. Make it sprinkle for Tinker. I don't have anything for the cat. I'm sorry. Kerbal ads, starting with CRS-21, SpaceX will use the Crew Dragon flying unmanned and with the seats removed for their CRS responsibility. That makes sense. That makes sense. Why are you doing this, cat? He is not happy. Okay. Kevlar resubscribed! Yay! And make it rain! Strider says, regarding open printers, when I'm evil, I send all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy filling a page to open printers because, yeah, that's better than some things I've heard about being sent to printers. Raj Luthor points out that I know satellite trails have been around for a long time, but it's getting crowded up there. Yup. It sure is, and I saw something on Launch Stuff on Twitter. Actually, Launch Stuff on Twitter retweeted it, but it was essentially something about Starlink and putting Starlink trails over art and calling it an effect or something, and they did Starlink trails over a Mona Lisa. Oh, thank you, Foys, for the tip! Oh, make it rain! Michael says that Space Now suggests there may be as many as 3 more Starlink launches this year. This year is very short. This year is very short. There's less than like 2 months left in this year, so that's a quick turnaround. It'd be nice though if it happens. Kerbal also adds that SpaceX Now is not a reliable source, which that's unfortunate. I found Rocket Launch Live to be pretty accurate, timely with updates, and I like the fact that it's not a flashy website. It's a very plain website. Oh, thank you for the gifts! Oh my goodness, Ryder! Thank you! And make it rain! My dog has already discovered that saying thank you means that bits are coming. Oh, make it! Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, Rigel. Oh, that's amazing. All right. So let me see what's up on my screen. 5 for Wayne Johnson because he gifted me my first sub. Oh, that's so sweet. It really is. That really is. You all are awesome. You really are. I appreciate each and every one of you and all of your support. And I lost track of my cat, which scares me a little. I'll find him. The cat's had a bad day today. Yeah, this community is awesome. You all really are. You all really are. So, at the bottom, some of you may notice a full fundraising bar. I figured I would leave that up for today to show you that, hey, we're done fundraising for the servers. Any overages, anything over our goal goes to pay for our domain name, any possible overages, and yeah, so just thank you again, everybody that donated, and if you can't support, oh yeah, and Noel, holy crap, Noel, thank you. Just thank you, Noel. That was a surprise. I was in the middle of working on slides and just checked Streamlabs and like, boom! Oh, there's the cat. But so yeah, the servers are paid for. That's one less thing for us to worry about. And we understand, if you can't support us financially, fiscally, we understand, we totally get it. We really do. So for any of those of you that just pop in and watch and lurk, thank you. Y'all are important too. There's many ways you can support us without spending money, and one of those ways is inflicting us on your friends, family, and enemies. On total strangers. Inflict CosmoQuest on total strangers. Do it. I may or may not have done that. Because we really do appreciate it, and yeah, things and stuff. And now I feel like I'm rambling. Other ways you can support us that don't cost any money. Follows on our Twitch channel. Follows are free. Subscribing to our YouTube is free. Joining our Discord is free. And the Discord, you do have to agree to a few rules. It's essentially, I will be a good human being. If you don't agree, you can see a whole bunch of things, but you can't type. So there's that. I kind of wanted to make it inclusive, so if you didn't want to do whatever, you could still read, but you can't type. I feel like I'm forgetting things. Hey, no, that was me tapping on the desk. We are going to take a couple weeks off. Hey, shh. Fundraising. Partially because we met this goal early. So thank you for allowing us to have a break from fundraising. We appreciate it. We are going to fundraise all of next month for salaries, and we will soft launch that on December 1st. And yeah, we'll have our hangout-a-thon right before Christmas. And I do have a surprise for y'all for the hangout-a-thon. No, I'm not pregnant, because that always needs to be said when you're a female of a certain age. No, I'm not pregnant, but I do have a surprise for y'all. What else, Kat? What else am I forgetting? Am I forgetting anything, y'all? Apparently, Star Trek 4/14 is back. That's actually pretty cool. I don't follow Star Trek very closely. The Expanse S4 on December 12th. Yeah, no alien parasites. I am not pregnant before anybody gets there. Okay, apparently chat's like, no, you're not forgetting anything else. It starts on your birthday. That's way cool. Happy birthday to you. Susie says, I'm not pregnant either. My kids are nearly grown. Yeah, nobody's pregnant that we know of, okay? So before y'all are like, all right, who's pregnant? Somebody's pregnant. Somebody's, no, none of us are pregnant. But I do have a surprise for y'all for Hangout-a-thon. And now I have not one, but two critters just staring at me. So, what do you guys want? You want me to finish? Oh, the fundraising starts on your birthday. Well, happy early birthday, Veronica. Did you bring Bennu to us? No. I want to destroy Bennu, but I know destroying Bennu would just cause it to reform. Okay, the last of the bits for Bombadil, and make it rain. That was way more than 2 barks, Tink. I know, Cat. I know, Cat. Did I not post that twice? I don't know. We could destroy mini Bennu on hat. In fact, somebody in the community suggested that we fill it with Cheerios and dog treats, which makes sense. Mini Explode and Mini Bennu. I don't know about Mini Explode. I'm still amused by the idea of a Bennu pinata. Broken Symmetry says, when Bennu reformed, you might have to map it again. No, we're done with Bennu. No. Okay. Sandy can make a Bennu pinata for us. No more mapping Bennu. Nope. I don't know if it's all done, but we're done with it. Really, cat? All right. Pinata, $5 a hit. Ooh, oh. Yeah, destroying Bennu would just cause it to reform. We'd have to burn it with fire, right? Or Bombadil. $5 a hit. I like it. We may actually have to make this happen. Okay. $5 a swing. Okay. Everybody's on board about this Bennu Pinata thing. So we're gonna have to look into that. I can't remember how long it takes to make a pinata. Send Bennu to Venus. Robot arm? Why not? Why not a robot arm? Fill it with rock candy? Finding individually wrapped rock candy on the internet has proven difficult. So that's why I like the idea of dog treats, because if it hits the floor, the dogs aren't going to care. I'm not bringing my dogs to Pamela's though. We're not ready for that. I'm not ready for that. I am totally not ready to have my dogs. It's been a hot minute since I've flown with the dogs, and I am not ready to have my dogs meet Pamela's dogs. So, yeah, I know we can make our own rock candy. I would mine Bennu. These numbers are very important. Yes, Sleeper Sigh, they are very important. Okay, so my cat is being very persistent about walking. Rocket candy, ooh, other than rock candy. I will make notes of all of this, and when I have time tomorrow, I will look at all of them. So my cat is begging to go outside, so I need to walk the cat. Yes, that's a thing. And then I also need to get started on recording this for the podcast, as well as other things. You can't see the cat because he's walking around and behind me. But yeah, I need to go walk the cat, y'all. This is a real thing. Thank you again to everybody who's tuned in. Thank you again, everybody, for your support. Y'all are amazing, and y'all make this possible. Weekly Space Hangout is tonight. Paranor will be hosting that simulcast. And yeah, I will see you all on Sunday, I think. I think I am going to stream on Sunday. So, you're welcome. So yeah, thank you and you're welcome, everybody. And yeah, I will see you all on Sunday. And now I have to do that awkward rolling the credits thing. Awkward rolling the credits. Oh no, where did they go? Oh, I lost them. I lost the credits. Watch me flail. Okay, there's the credits. Alright, so yeah, I will see you all on Sunday, and wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful insert time of day here. And I will see you all soon. The credits went for a walk, lol. Yeah, I know, right? Alright, bye everybody.